Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Today I'm sharing the cards I made using Love From Lizi's December 2021 card kit. The theme is party time. As I'm recording this voiceover, the kit and most of the add-ons are still available, and I will have links provided in the description box if you are interested in anything I use in this video. So let's go ahead and get started with card number 1. I'm using a card sketch from Sweet Sunday for inspiration. This is number 151. The paper collection that's included in the kit has one sheet of cut aparts. So these are 3 by 3 inches. I love this beautiful wreath, and I decided to use one of the sentiment stamps and add it to the inside. This is "The best is yet to come." I used my mini MISTI just to make sure I got a good solid impression. I'll layer this cut apart on some gold pearlescent cardstock, and this is one of the add-ons that's available. For the 2 rectangle pieces in the background, I have a pattern paper with a grid design, and the lines look like gold glitter, although all of the pattern paper is smooth. I'll layer both of these on some black cardstock, and then again on some pinkish mauve cardstock. Now the kit does include several sheets of colored cardstock, but I'll also be bringing in additional cardstock since I love to add layers to my cards. I'll put my card front onto my card base, and for this card I am leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, so 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. Now I am changing this sketch up. I'm not following it exactly. For the little banner, I decided to put it behind the cut apart, and I'm just using some solid black cardstock. So I'll adhere that in place and then add the cut apart on top. Now before I attach that cut apart, I am putting some scrap cardstock on the back side, and this will just help keep everything at the same level. At first I left a gap between the 2 pattern paper pieces. Then I decided I would add one of the peel-offs, and this is the new peel-off color that's included in the kit. It's black and it has gold foil on the outside edge. It's really shiny. This is the pinstripe style, and I'm using the medium width. Since most of it will be covered up, I don't need to use a full strip. So once I have that in place, I can attach the cut apart. For embellishments on the card, I decided to add a few small stars. And I used that same gold pearlescent cardstock, and this is an add-on set. It's called Stars and Swirls. It's a really fun die set with lots of different designs. I'll attach each of those stars using some liquid adhesive. I'll put one of the stars in the lower right-hand corner on the cut apart and 2 in the upper left-hand corner. I decided not to pop them up using foam dimension. It's nice to have cards that I can mail without paying any extra postage. For one final finishing touch, I pulled out a clear glitter brush. This is from scrapbook.com. I'm adding it to all the little fireworks and the flowers on that wreath. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 1. For card number 2, I won't be using a card sketch. I'm using this starburst or firework die that's included in the kit, and also the pink, or one of the pink cardstocks that's included in the kit. There's 3 different shades. So I cut out all those fun starbursts, and I'll be attaching this pink layer onto some of the gold pearlescent cardstock. So that way you'll be able to see all that pretty gold through those cutout rays. I put some ATG along the outside edge of the panel, and now I'll add some liquid adhesive. Just want to get everything to lay nice and flat. I cut the gold pearlescent cardstock just a tiny bit smaller than the pink panel. So I'll just press the 2 pieces together. The small circle that's in the center of that firework, all of the sentiments except for one from the stamp set will fit on the inside, so that's really fun. I'll be adding the sentiment Happy New Year, using my mini MISTI again to make sure to get that good solid impression. Before I layer this on some black cardstock, I decided to add a couple of peel-offs to the lower portion. At first I thought about adding the peel-offs around all the outside edges and creating a frame, but then I changed my mind and just put 2 of them on the lower area. I have the medium width and also the narrowest width, and this is the peel off color that's included in the kit. I'll wrap those ends around the back, add some ATG tape on the back of this panel and layer it on some black cardstock. Then I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. I love the look of this firework or starburst die. It'll be perfect to use on cards year round. Using the same stars and swirls die set, I cut out this one piece that I'll put at the lower portion of the card and also several small individual stars. I cut out the larger piece from some light pink cardstock and also some gold pearlescent cardstock. I'll layer the 2 pieces together, just offset them slightly so you can see some of that pretty gold from behind. Then I'll put liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the lower portion of the card. Try to get it nice and centered. I'm putting my acrylic block on top for some added weight while I let that glue dry. I also have 3 small stars. I'll put 2 of them in the upper left-hand corner and 1 to the right of the firework. This is another card I decided to keep nice and flat. For a little extra sparkle on the card, I decided to add a mini star peel-off in the center of each of the stars. These are the pink iridescent glitter peel-offs. There's 3 different sizes on a sheet. I'm using all 3 sizes, just depends on the size of that star die cut. Some of the stars are really tiny, so it does help to use a pair of tweezers. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 2. I love how this card turned out. The pink and gold look so pretty together. For card design number 3, I'm using another card sketch. This is one of my favorite card sketches, and I know I use it all the time. It's OWH number 218. I love to use this sketch when I have a pretty pattern paper that I really want to feature on a card. So for this card, I have the presents and some masks and fireworks. I'm also using a scrap of the black and gold grid paper. The background paper, I have some white pearlescent cardstock, and this is also part of one of the add-ons. I'm lining that grid paper with some black peel-offs. Just wrap those ends around the back. Then I'm also using some of the gold glitter sway peel-offs. This is the narrowest width, and it has this fun little wavy design on one side, and then it's straight on the other side. I'll add 1 to the very bottom portion underneath that pattern paper strip. Since the glitter peel-offs are a bit thicker than the regular peel-offs and the mirror, I won't wrap that end around the back. Instead, I'll flip over the panel and trim it off. Put some ATG tape on the back and layer this panel on some black cardstock. Then I can put my card front onto a card base. Before I attach the present and mask pattern paper, I will put that scrap piece of cardstock on the upper portion where it goes off of the grid strip pattern paper. And since I use scrap cardstock, it doesn't really matter what color since you're not going to see it. I'll adhere it to the card using some liquid adhesive. For this sentiment, I'm using one of the ephemera pieces that's included in the kit. The sentiment is Midnight Wishes, New Year Kisses. On the back side, I already put some scrap cardstock on the left side, and then I did pop it up using some thin foam squares. For those 3 small circles, I'm substituting them for some of the gold glitter star peel-offs. I'm using the medium size star, trying to get them nice and straight and lined up. Then one final finishing touch, I'll add some more glitter, putting it on the presents and also the fireworks. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 3. For card number 4, I'm using a card sketch from Sugar Pea Designs. This is Sugar Sketch number 23. And if you are interested in any of the sketches I use in this video, I do share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. The link is provided in the description box below, or you can simply head over to KristieMarcotte.com. I have this fun mask paper for the background, layered it on some burgundy cardstock, For that strip that goes behind the circle die cut, I use some of the off-white pearlescent cardstock. Then I'll add my burgundy stitch circle die cut. I have two different ephemera pieces, one with the sentiment, "May your new year sparkle and shine," and also a noisemaker that has all these little streamers coming out. I decided to pop up the noisemaker using some thin foam squares and just attach it underneath the sentiment on the right side. Next, I'll add the two small banners in the upper left-hand corner using some solid cardstock. I have the burgundy for that taller or longer banner and some cardstock that matches that background mauve color. Before I adhere the smaller banner, I am putting that small scrap piece of cardstock to the right. Then I'll glue down that second banner using some liquid adhesive. Next, I'll add a bow using the ribbon that's in the kit. There's 5 different colors, and I've already gone ahead and tied this bow. Put a small glue dot on the back side and adhere it underneath the sentiment on the left. For a little bit of sparkle, I'll add a few of the mini stars in the gold glitter color. Put 2 of them to the right of the sentiment, 1 tiny star to the left of the word sparkle, and 2 small stars on the banners in the upper left-hand corner. And there is my finished card. This is card number 4. For card number 5, I'm using a card sketch from MFT. This is number 494. The background paper has all these pretty leafy branches. I'll be adding a strip of black and gold glitter looking polka dots. Let's put that in the center. I tried to get it on there nice and straight, and I don't know if just that busy leaf design in the background was distracting me, but I turned my paper so I could line it up on my craft mat. So once I have that in place, I'll be adding some of the peel-offs from the kit, and this will add a little bit of contrast and shine. I'm using the widest width and putting it along the very edge of that polka dot paper. I don't have to put it in the center since I will be covering that up with an image. So I'll wrap the ends of the peel-offs around the back, put some ATG tape on the back of this panel. I'll layer it on some mauve colored cardstock and then again on some black cardstock. I really like adding the 2 different cardstock layers for the background. I'll put my card front onto a card base, and for this card I won't have that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. To make sure my images and sentiment don't get lost on the card, since both of those pattern papers are fairly busy, I'll be adding a vellum oval, and I used a stitched oval die for that. I have 2 of the present ephemera pieces and also the sentiment, "Legends are born in January." I won't be attaching the oval yet. First, I'll put the ephemera pieces on top, since I don't want any of the adhesive to show through that vellum. I'll put the 2 presents above the sentiment, and for the sentiment I decided to pop it up using some thin foam squares. My favorite foam dimension has 2 different sizes. There's a larger square and also this size, which is fairly small. I usually go through the larger squares first, so I do have to use extra of the smaller square. I'll hold the oval up to my card to make sure to get that sentiment nice and straight. Then I'll flip it over and add liquid adhesive everywhere there's ephemera, so that way you won't see any of the adhesive through the vellum. The ephemera pieces will also cover up the area where I didn't put a peel off all the way across the card. For a little extra sparkle, I'm using the glitter brush and adding it to both of the presents. I'll also add a couple of the glitter enamel dots that are included in the kit. I'm using the white color. I put 2 in the upper right hand corner, and I was trying to decide where to put the 3rd, but everywhere I placed it didn't look quite right, so I decided just to go with the 2. I also brought in some more of the gold glitter mini star peel-offs. I'll put 2 in the lower left hand corner by the sentiment, and I'm trying to figure out where I want to place the 3rd. Again, can't make up my mind, but I do end up putting it in the upper right hand corner by the sentiment. I also thought about adding the small star to the center of that present on the right side, but I changed my mind. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 5. For card number 6, I have 2 different pattern papers. One has all these little streamers in the background, and then I also have more of the black and the gold glitter looking polka dots. I'll add the polka dot paper to the center. Almost looks similar to the previous card, but the design is going to be different. I'll be adding a strip of gold pearlescent cardstock to the lower portion of the card. Once I had that placed down, I decided to add some black peel-offs to the edge of the gold and black polka dot paper. Would have been better to put it down before the gold pearlescent cardstock, but it still worked just fine. This is always a great way to use up some of those teeny tiny pieces of the leftover peel-offs. And for this, I am using the narrowest width of the black peel-offs. It'll just add that tiny bit of contrast and shine. And I'll wrap the ends around the back and layer this piece on some black cardstock. And I won't have any of the white cardstock showing. I'll put my card front onto a card base, then I'll bring in several of the ephemera pieces. There are 2 disco balls. One has a little more of a pink color, and there's also this one with the orange, yellow, and gold colors. I thought it worked really well with the pattern papers. I also have 4 other ephemera pieces, 2 hats, the little mustache on the stick, and also a mask. And I'll be placing those on the gold pearlescent strip. Before adhering those in place, I'll work on the disco ball, and I decided I would pop it up using some of the foam dimension. On the upper portion, I am adding some scrap cardstock first, then I'll put all the little foam dimension pieces. And for the little string that the disco ball hangs off of, I need to cut down some tiny pieces of the foam dimension. I'll remove the release paper and adhere it to the center of the card. For all the other ephemera pieces, I'll be gluing them down directly onto that gold pearlescent strip. Start off with the top hat, then I'll put the mustache, the other hat, and the little mask. The kit does have a New Year's party theme, but there's plenty of items included that you could use for any other parties throughout the year or celebration. So once I have all of those in place, I'll be adding the sentiment, and this is the word party. It's one of the dies that's included in the kit. The word is 3 different die cut pieces that you have to assemble together. I cut it out from some black pearlescent cardstock, and I decided to adhere it to the lower portion of the disco ball. This word also fits nicely inside the firework die that's included in the kit. To finish off the card, I'll add some more of the gold glitter mini stars, using just the smallest size and putting them randomly around all those ephemera pieces on the gold pearlescent strip. After I finished recording this card, I decided that disco ball needed some glitter, so I did use a glitter brush and put it all over that disco ball. It's hard to see in the photos, but it is super sparkly. Now moving on to card number 7. For this card, I will be using a card sketch for inspiration. This is MFT number 462. I have 2 different pattern papers, one with all these small fireworks and the other with some beautiful florals. I'll put both of those on some black cardstock. Then I'll add one of the peel-offs from the kit between both of the pattern papers. I believe I'm using the widest width. I won't have this strip go around the back, so instead I'm cutting the edge with a craft knife. I'll put my card front onto a card base, and for this card I am leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Instead of the heart, I'll be using a few ephemera pieces. So I have this fun little label that has a fancy scallop edge all along the inside. I'll adhere that down first using some liquid adhesive. I have the sentiment, "This is your year to shine," and then also a couple of small branches. On the end of the branches, I did put some foam dimension, and then on the very inside edge of the branch, I'm using some liquid adhesive. I'll adhere the branches down first, and I keep placing this sentiment on top to make sure I get the placement of the branches correct. Then I'll put some foam dimension just on the inside portion of the sentiment and adhere it to the center. For a finishing touch, I decided to use some of the sequins that are included in the kit. I'll be using just the gold color. There's the large size and also the smaller size. I'll put 2 in the upper right hand corner and 1 to the left of the sentiment. I'm using an embellishment wand to pick up the sequins, then adding that drop of liquid glue. I did get a little more glue than I wanted for this spot, so I did wipe it up using a scrap piece of paper. I find it helpful to use the opposite end of the embellishment wand to help press the sequin in place. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 7. I think those papers look so pretty together. For card number 8, I'm using a card sketch for inspiration. This is MFT number 457. I'll be using 2 different pattern papers. I have the same firework paper I used on the previous card, put that on the lower portion. And on the upper part, I have black paper that has an assortment of gold circles in different sizes. I layered both of those on some of the gold pearlescent cardstock. Next, I'll be adding one of the gold glitter sway peel-offs between the 2 pattern papers. This is the largest size. I am using my craft knife to cut off the ends. And then above the sway peel-off, I'll be adding one of the pinstripe peel-offs from the kit. I'm using the widest width, and this is the black peel-off with the gold foil edging. So I'll use my craft knife again and trim off the very edge. Then I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For my cardstock layers, I generally add an additional 1/8 of an inch to the measurements listed on the card sketch. For that circle, I'll be using one of the rub-ons that's included in the kit. There's a whole sheet that has lots of fun fireworks. Lizzie even included a popsicle stick, so you're all ready to go to use your rub-ons. If you've never used rub-ons before, there's a protective backing, so you remove that, and you'll place the tacky side down onto whatever surface you want. Take your popsicle stick or some other tool and rub gently all over the top. You want to get even pressure. And slowly peel off the very top portion to make sure everything is adhering down nicely. I do it slowly since I don't want to rip that rub-on. So once that's all in place, I'll layer this circle on a black circle die cut. Trying to make sure to get it nice and even. Then I'll put liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the center, following this sketch fairly closely. For this sentiment, I'll be using one of the ephemera pieces, and I'll also add the little champagne glasses to the center of that firework. I did pop those up using some thin foam squares. Trying to figure out what direction I wanted those to face. I'm also popping up the sentiment, and this is Happy New Year. And I'll place the sentiment on the right side of the card. Couldn't decide if I wanted it to the left, right, up, or down, but I always end up going back exactly where I first placed it. To finish off the card, I'll add a few of the sequins, putting one large black and a small gold in the upper right-hand corner. And I know people will be surprised. I generally only use one color of the sequins, but I decided to use 2 this time. I'll also place one of the large black sequins to the lower left of the image. So I'll get those pressed in place. And since I'm really enjoying the gold mini star peel-offs, I pulled those out and I'll add 2 of them to the upper right-hand corner of the sentiment. The color matches beautifully with the paper collection. The nice thing about the glitter peel-offs, the glitter is all sealed, so it won't make a mess at all. I'll also use the clear glitter brush and add it to the champagne glasses. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 8. Now moving on to card number 9. The card sketch is from Paper Play. It's number 21. I'm using this really fun black and gold glitter design for the background. I'm adding a strip of black pearlescent cardstock, and I cut those circles out using a die by Tonic Studios. Decided to place the circles back inside this die cutout, and I had some double-sided tape on the back so I could inlay all those circles. They do have a stitch detail along the outside. Now I'll use some of the peel-offs from the kit, put it along the very inside edge of that black strip. I'm using the narrowest width this time and trimming it flush to the edge. I decided not to wrap them around the back. I'll be layering this panel on some more of the black pearlescent cardstock, and then put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. The pattern papers in this kit are so pretty and very unique. They do have a darker look overall, but they also have that hint of the gold glitter. To put inside each of those circles, I'll be adding one of the cupcakes, and I fussy cut these out from one of the pattern papers. I'll also be using one of the ephemera sentiments. This is Let's Celebrate. Before attaching the sentiment, I will add the scrap cardstock pieces to the right side. Since that pearlescent strip is fairly thick, I am adding 2 strips of the solid cardstock to the right side of this sentiment. And then I'll glue it down using some liquid adhesive. For all of the cupcakes, I will be popping those up using some thin foam squares. I'll place 1 cupcake inside each of the circles, and I'll put them at an angle. I'll have the first one tilted toward the left, the middle one will tilt toward the right, and then the top one again will tilt toward the left. In the upper right hand corner, I'll be adding some of the sequins. Thought about using the glittery enamel dots and the stars, but decided to settle with the black sequins. I think there's more contrast against that really busy background paper. I'm using just the largest size. Put a drop of liquid adhesive down and press those in place with my embellishment wand. Once I have all of the sequins adhered, I pull out the mini star gold glitter peel-offs. These definitely are my favorite with this kit. Thought about putting one next to the sentiment, but I think with that noise maker in the background, it was already busy enough. So instead, I'm placing them around the cupcakes, using just the smallest size. I'll add some sparkle to the frosting on each of the cupcakes using the clear glitter brush. But then I felt something wasn't quite right with this card. I wanted to change it up just a little bit. So I'm using some of the star and swirl dies. I have this beautiful star collection with that little swirl on the top, and I'll be adding that above the sentiment. And I'm also putting 2 of the gold stars. So I'm removing all the mini star glitter peel-offs. Luckily, I was able to remove those tiny star peel-offs without it ripping the paper. Put liquid adhesive on the back and attach my die cut stars, and I used some gold satin mirror cardstock for those. Put liquid adhesive on the back of this larger star cluster. Just 1 point of the star will be touching the sentiment. And I'll bring back those star peel-offs and add one to the center of each of the stars on the die cuts. Not sure if I made it too busy now, but I really like how it turned out. I also put one of the star peel-offs in the center of that opening, that little cutout part of the star above the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 9. It's definitely one of my favorites. Now moving on to card number 10, and this is my final card. I'm using a card sketch from Paper Play. This is number 17. One of my favorite pattern papers, has all these beautiful leaves in the background, and there's also some black flowers. They're hard to see on the video. I'll be adding 2 other pattern paper pieces, just some small scraps I had left over. So these measurements do not equal what I have listed on the card sketch. Layered both of those smaller pattern papers with some black cardstock, adding some scrap cardstock underneath the polka dot paper so I can keep everything at the same level. And I'll be layering the background piece on some more of the gold pearlescent cardstock. Then I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. And I really am using this sketch more for inspiration. I'm not following it exactly. For this sentiment, I'll be using one of the chipboard pieces that's included in the kit, and these do have adhesive on the back. I used the ephemera piece that matches that on a previous card. So this is Midnight Wishes, New Year Kisses. I first remove the release paper on the back side, and since I have all of these different layers, I need to add different dimension on the back side to make sure everything stays at the same level. So I have some thin foam squares and also some scrap cardstock pieces, and then I put some liquid adhesive on the back as well, just to make sure it all stays in place. We'll also add this little bunting ephemera piece in the upper right hand corner. For a little extra sparkle, I'm using some of the glitter enamel dots. This is the darker pink color. Put 2 in the upper right hand corner and 1 underneath the sentiment. And I couldn't resist bringing in the mini star peel-offs in the gold glitter color. I'll put 1 small star in the center of each of the little flags on the bunting. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 10. I love all those colors together. Not necessarily colors I would think to use together, but I think they work well. Now here's another look at the 10 cards I made using Love From Lizi's December 2021 card kit. The theme is party time. As I'm recording this voiceover, the kit and most of the add-ons are still available. I will have links provided in the description box if you are interested in any of the items I used in this video. This is a monthly kit, so quantities are always limited. The only way to guarantee receiving a kit is to sign up and subscribe. Now after my 10 cards, this is everything I still have left over. 1 full sheet of the cardstock, a little bit of that pink cardstock, but no worries, that will not go to waste. I still have 3 of the cut aparts, lots of pattern paper scraps, and 2 full sheets. Still have quite a bit of the ephemera. It really does come with a lot. I have all of the rub-ons except for 1. Here's the rest of the chipboard pieces. There's sentiments and also little images. Just gonna pop these out. I have the stamp set, and that is full of great sentiments. Still have more of the sequin mix. I have lots of the glitter enamel dots. Here are the 2 dies that are included. Lots of the ribbons still left over, and then the peel-offs. Lizi's kits really do come packed full with products, and I look forward to them every month. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.